Hey besties, do you remember last week when Blake Lively claimed that she had proof that the Wayfair parties only created a website so that they could smear her, and the only reason that they filed a lawsuit against her was so they could smear her, and that the lawsuit was just a PR stunt designed so they could smear her, and it was filed in bad faith, and that she had evidence of this because of a Signal chat that had been revealed, and it proved that the website they created was done in bad faith? Well, Miss Guerra put all of this information out public. She redacted the phone numbers of individuals involved and Signal user IDs, but I would say that if someone believed they were doing this for retaliatory purposes, they would not want this unsealed in the court. And what it actually reveals is that they were creating a website at the same time they were amending their lawsuit, and that they decided that it would be best if they just shared the lawsuit on a website so that it was publicly available to people that wanted to read their complaint against Blake Lively. It is similar to the fact that when Blake Lively filed a CRD complaint, she handed over her CRD complaint to the New York Times, who then posted the CRD complaint as a lawsuit on their website, where you can see it and view it as a hyperlink where it looks like a lawsuit. Okay. And in these Signal chats that just got unsealed, you see attorney Summer Benson saying it matches the filing amended complaint timeline of relevant events, defer to the group, but I understand that it should go live. The website is just PDFs, according to another attorney. Brian Friedman says, standing by during this period, Jed Wallace, along with Rosa, was helping to set up this website. Mr. Jason Sunshine stated that because they were only filing court records, nothing they posted there would be defamatory, implying this by saying, and it is all cloaked in the litigation privilege, much like Blake's alleged CRD complaint that they claim is cloaked in litigation privilege. The lawsuit that was dismissed was also cloaked in litigation privilege. What is also interesting in this is that while they were just putting this all together, Jaime asked if it was okay for them to post this and said, if legal says we are good to go, you have my approval. And Jason Sunshine said, these are filed documents and I don't see any risk whatsoever with posting them, but that authority lies above my pay grade. And then Jamie says, we are not monetizing off it. It is simply a landing page to have access to legal documents that are already public. So with that, let's go live. So they wanted a landing page for people to find already filed court records, and so the public could have access to these documents. They also call Brian Friedman the Terminator. That's so weird. A lot of their conversation had to do with redacting people's names on the timeline or relevant events, or redacting phone numbers, or redacting information within these texts so that other people that weren't involved in litigation would be protected. And at one point, someone, Jamie Heath, who wanted to make sure that everything that they put out was accurate and that all of the documents were accurate and factual, said, I'm sorry guys, everyone has been working hard on this. Of course, now we all have a little document that we are pointing people to that will not be accurate. I've got 3 devices right now I'm looking at, and it's all inconsistent. This cannot go out as is. So unless we can get this fixed, we're taking it down. There's no chance we are having something like this evidence that we're presenting to the world and have people read things that are not accurate. So basically, they were having problems loading the PDF because it was so many pages. And because of that, the PDF was skipping and pushing the page down and then loading blank pages, which made it look different than what was filed in court. And they were very concerned that it matched what was filed in court, and they didn't want anything to be read as though it was not accurate. It then hit TMZ. So TMZ found out about it, and then over time, they realized that what was published wasn't false, and the glitches that they were having got fixed. And honestly, it really doesn't look like this. And Jamie appears to be someone that wanted to make sure that this was done in a way where it was representative of what was filed in court, that the evidence be accurate to what they had, and that they weren't misleading the public or anyone when they put this out. This had already been filed in court when it was uploaded to this website, by the way. And what's interesting is because TMZ posted this on their website and it began getting circulated organically, people started pulling the document and reading the document online. And at one time, they were having people on their website, active users of in the past minutes. They had so many people clicking this and downloading it. They had downloads at one point. And something I also want to point out that I think is interesting is that all he wanted on this website was only this amended complaint in the timeline. He didn't want anything else so that it was confusing for people. He wanted to keep it directly to the court record. So he wrote, let's leave it as is, folks. We can revisit and consider it if needed later. But it's doing what we want it to do exactly as we need it. I am happy with the fact that it looks more like a place to host documents rather than looking like a performative website with a lot of architectural design. Let's just breathe for a bit. And I think Bail on Files might be a Reddit that is actually tied to Blake Lively. So they say. So the way Bailed on Files people are trying to fight back is they registered social media for the lawsuit info. And he sent that over to For Your Team. Let them think they have a win unhinged. Well, this is unhinged too. Who wants to tell her that she's not a party to the lawsuit? I don't know who the person is that's managing Bellon Files on Reddit, but they do seem to suggest that this Bellon Files Reddit is a subreddit that Blake Lively's team put together. So a lot of the stuff that they accuse Wayfair of doing, they do using Reddit themselves. They also made clear that what was happening was organic, because is there a way myself that we can use those numbers on the side somewhere sort of nonchalantly, almost like organic, that they're just there and they keep going up and up? Obviously, we want to use the real numbers, but I think it's a story that will just make it on its own without us placing it. If we just, that's just on the side. At one point they write, there have been over live streams. It's a massive moneymaker for creators, and the sentiment profoundly Justin Baldoni favored. That's the real indication. Either way, it makes money, but the support tells the tale. Well done, family. So Blake is trying to say that this was done for a smear campaign, but really what they did was put out an amended complaint. A court record filed it on a public website, making a court record that you'd have to pay for free to the public and available to anyone. And it's, by the way, not illegal or against the law to post a public record, no different than what the Blake Lively did with the New York Times. So really, if Blake is going to use this as her proof that they filed this for a smear campaign, that kind of falls apart. I wanted to just talk through something very quickly too, because in the same vein that Blake filed this, she also filed this declaration, right? And the declaration was supposed to be that, Mr. Baldoni verbally abused people, and they want to make it clear to the court that this person be not public. The identity of a person who has disclosed prior experience of verbal abuse with defendant Justin Baldoni. In this action, they want to continue sealing that to protect the well-being and sensitive confidential information of a third-party. Exhibit 1 was produced and designated confidential by Ms. Lively pursuant to this court's protective order and contains information of a personal and identifying information nature regarding an individual that warrants continued sealing of the exhibit. This is an odd request because this is a person that is willing to file an affidavit. Baldoni in this action, they want to continue sealing that to protect the well-being and sensitive confidential information of a third-party. Exhibit 1 was produced and designated confidential by Ms. Lively pursuant to this court's protective order and contains information of a personal and identifying information nature regarding an individual that warrants continued sealing of the exhibit. This is an odd request because this is a person that is willing to file an affidavit under the court, and it might be that this person was only willing to file it if they remained anonymous. Further, the redacted portions of the declaration disclose details regarding the declarant that, if disclosed, threaten to reveal their identity. Okay, it's a declaration filed by a person. Of course, their identity would be involved, right? And they don't want them to be harassed in the press or by social media users who closely follow this action. The court has previously recognized the unique public media-driven nature of this case, and this part at the end just made me chuckle because it kind of feels like this whole thing was for PR. But they're trying to claim it wasn't. To that end, the declaration has already received substantial media coverage. Interesting. It's almost like you filed the declaration for that purpose and will certainly invite additional coverage and frenzy should the declarant's identity or identifying information contained in the declaration be exposed on social media. This coverage includes attempts to unmask the declarant while describing the declaration as PR and lies. There is no public interest in exposing the declarant to months of online scrutiny and attacks leading up to trial, regardless of whether the declarant ultimately serves as a trial witness. So they don't even know if this person can be a witness at the trial. They're just saying they don't want to reveal this person's name because they don't want that person to be harassed. Under these circumstances, any limited interest the public may have in the identity of the individual is heavily outweighed by the countervailing interest in protecting the privacy interests and well-being of the third party. I don't know. To me, I think he'll probably seal this and continue to seal it. But, folks, if you don't want to be involved in public litigation, don't file affidavit and in court if you think it's going to be sensitive and it's going to get you harassment. You don't have to get involved in litigation. You don't have to even file this document. And to me, the fact that they don't want to be known tells me that the only reason this was signed was because they were told it wouldn't be revealed, which then lends to me is, how credible is this? If you can't stand on it publicly, you know what I mean? The judge already agreed to the sealing of that. The Signal chats by not revealing anybody's phone numbers and not revealing one of the individual's usernames on Signal. He has not yet revealed anything regarding her request that it remain sealed as far as the declaration and the identity of that person. And then on another case, over at the Jones versus Live Jones versus Baldwin versus Tag versus literally everyone, Stephanie Jones wants portions of a deposition of Bona Koslow and Katie Cassius to be unsealed because apparently they've been given information about who this website, Stephanie Jones Leaks, was supposedly made for. And it's not someone that's involved in that lawsuit. So it's not Baldoni. It's not Tag. It's not Jet Able. It's some other high-profile client that had proposed that they wanted to have this put out. And Stephanie Jones wants that information removed from designation of attorney's eyes only so that her attorneys can tell her the identity of who this person was that created this lawsuit and or who created this website or wanted this website put out, and they identified who this person is. But they won't tell Stephanie Jones because her deposition was given under attorney's eyes only. And both Wayfair and Case's attorneys are saying it should remain under seal. From Wayfair's point of view, this is a third party alleging something of what a proposed person or proposed client may have wanted, so it's not actual evidence that it was for. And Case admits to writing the copy for the website, so she was told what to write. She said everything that she wrote was true. She even testified that a lot of what she wrote was based upon her own experiences of working with Stephanie Jones. And then when it comes to the case and costs their objections to not revealing this person was that. It's a proposed client. Revealing the information could cause unnecessary speculation and harassment and craze for this person who's currently not being sued by anyone. And they might sue this person, but they don't know if they will. And it's clear that whoever instructed them to create this website is not Baldoni. It's not Wayfair Studios. It's not Jamie Heath. It's somebody else. And there are a lot of clients that are high profile that were with Stephanie Jones. I mean, she had Jeff Bezos, Lauren Sanchez. She had The Rock. She had Tom Brady. She pissed off a lot of people, not just Wayfair Studios. And what is clear to me is that yes, Tag proposed this website and they were going to supposedly make it for someone, but that someone wasn't Bellon. Because if you think about it, that website went live in May of, he wasn't having issues with Stephanie Jones at that point. He was not dealing with problems with her. And so honestly, I think she has sued the wrong people.